Hey, Margie Fitzgerald, LCSW here. Today we're going to be talking about why, or asking the question, why has about 50 years of research on domestic abuse, domestic violence, IPV, which is intimate partner violence, narcissism, psychopathy, been ignored in terms of the training in universities for social workers, psychotherapists, school counselors, medical doctors, pediatricians, dentists, because there are dental consequences from people living in battering environments. I'm sure family law. And I just wanted to point out several of the books that I personally, as a licensed clinical social worker, specializing in abuse dynamics and assessment and treatment of victims of narcissists, abusers, batterers, which is why and how I am credentialed, and I specialize in teaching this case of nightmare and hostage hills, which is the practitioner's manual. I have a link below for that and my website where you can find several of my books, that one or the case study or both. And you can also reach out to me for any questions, and I offer free consultation, and I also see clients in the state of Colorado for treatment, and I do coaching for cases where there's domestic abuse, people looking for assistance with their legal cases, where there is high conflict, which is really domestic abuse, domestic violence disguised in the term high conflict. So back to my original question, why has the research such as one of my personal favorites, Lundy Bancroft, The Batterer as Parent. This was one of the resources I used in my own research and in helping Christina write her main book. If you can see that back there, the Nightmare and Hostage Hills, the main case study book. This is one of the most profound in terms of assessing family dynamics, because everyone assumes a particular role in the abuse scenario. So we have the batterer's parent. Okay, number one. Dr. Childress, although I don't agree with a separate term of parental alienation, I believe that alienation tactics are under the umbrella of domestic abuse, domestic violence, IPV, has written an incredible book, Foundations, about how the brain is twisted into a pretzel, especially of the children, that become absorbed into the personality, really, just like a cult. The narcissist, borderline criminal batterer absorbs the children through programming, brainwashing techniques, which are a whole plethora of intermittent reinforcement tactics, which I talk about in other videos and also in my practice manual. But I just want to point out today all the research that is out there and why are we not getting trained in these dynamics in grad schools of social work and psychology, medicine, law, family law especially, education. So again, that's Dr. Craig Childress's work. And then this one is an older one, but this is profound, because this is actually what happens to the children held hostage, dealing with programmed and brainwashed children. This was written by a lawyer, and it was Dr. Rivlin. She's now a PhD, but this is profound. This is one of the older books that should be, that's the research I use in the practice manual, and also in assisting Christina in writing her case study. And this is by Dr. Bryn Rivlin, Stanley Claywar, and this has been out for decades. And then we have Love Her. This is Susan Weitzman. I think she's out of Illinois, Not to People Like Us. So this is primarily for kind of upper middle class, upper class families with the abusers that are actually so scary. Not any scarier than other ones, but they're able to hide their delusional, criminal, brainwashing programming IPV behavior behind money. All these tactics, are usually occurring behind closed doors. behind in the car, in the home, in the estate, in the palace, in the boat. And so this is called Not to People Like Us, which is another resource I use for writing Nightmare and Hostage Hills Practitioner's Manual. Dr. Susan Weitzman, kudos to you. This one is a little more recent. Barry Goldstein, who actually wrote the foreword for Christina's book, Nightmare and Hostage Hills. This is excellent. This is really a testimony to Barry and his team when they did pilot studies of how to unite the law enforcement, the judges, and the lawyers in actually enforcing court orders, enforcing the law when there was domestic violence calls from the mother. And Dr. Evan Stark, all my work is in honor of him. He just passed away, and he is really considered the pioneer of coercive control. And that is a whole body of research also of his work that I don't have a book of his, but I have several journal articles that I use also in creating the practice manual. So this is the Quincy solution, and a newer book for you clinicians that are interested in custody cases, which is where I specialize. There is Dr. Mohana partnered with Barry Goldstein and writing one. I don't know the exact name of it, but I'm sure you can find that online. This one also is very fitting. This is a lot older. You guys are probably familiar with M. Scott Peck. This is his second book, I think, People of the Lie. A little bit daunting to read. However, he really goes into specific case studies of people that are without conscience, that people that are very delusional, and I believe there is a spiritual component to this as well. But you can, that's one of the books that I've used in my research. Why they're not taught, these dynamics are not taught, because we can learn how to assess and how to have the clinical eyes to see what's being said and what's not being said, and the nonverbal communication also. This is more recent, Shahadi Arabi. This is on narcissistic abuse. Now, I haven't read the whole book, but she's amazing. Surviving and Thriving After Narcissistic Abuse. And so there's a lot of great work, including Dr. Ramani's very new book, It's Not You, on healing from all of this. My goal in writing the practice manual and assisting Christina in getting her story out of the family court's collusion and corruption in the abuse of children, ripping them from their mothers, mostly. Sometimes it's fathers, but it's usually their mothers. And this is geared towards us learning as clinicians how to prevent this abuse to children, which the kids often get really sick as psychosomatic symptoms. The mothers get sick. I know several cases where fathers who were targeted by the covert narcissist mother took their lives. The judges are ruling unilaterally however they want. It's not based on the law. And so there is that whole gigantic piece of family court corruption over which we as clinicians, when we present the accurate assessment of the children, when we understand, and I will continue doing training on my practice manual. I'm going to offer like a master class, I think it's called. But in the meantime, it's a very thin book. It's very meaning that I created it very simply with questions at the end of each chapter, which I'll create videos just on some of the questions. And I'm going to create a group also where we can discuss some cases. And this book, to me, is the pioneer book, Trauma and Recovery by Dr. Judith Herman. Okay, this was published decades ago, and a lot of this is the domestic abuse cases that are scary, the kind that movies are made out of, where you have these victims held captive, and the journey to healing. Essentially, that's where we come in, and we're the lawyers to enforce the law and ensure protective orders for the children to be safe with their mothers, away from any more battering, any more abuse, and narcissistic cruelty. This is called Trauma and Recovery, the Aftermath of Violence from Domestic Abuse to Political Terrorism. That's another resource that's been out there, which we have not been trained on these. I don't know why. That's where I come into the picture and hopefully be helpful to you guys. And then this one is very profound as well, by Dr. Linda Martinez-Louis, Freeing Yourself from the Narcissist in Your Life. And her language that she uses, as daunting as it is actually very accurate. She talks about these abusers, these narcissists, being predators and, you know, using their families, really consuming them like you might find a hawk with his talons. And she's amazing too, and is one of the pioneers on this narcissistic stuff. So why, I don't know why this research has been suppressed from training in universities. That's where I'm coming in and I'm teaching it. And I've created a practice manual that we really need to learn, right? To learn, because the malfeasance being perpetrated upon families and family court is unacceptable. And so continue watching. Please pick up a copy of the practice manual. You can also go to my website. I'm going to start putting some of the segments of the assessment questions on there, which may be helpful for you for free. There's no purchase required for that. So thank you for paying attention. If you find value in what I'm sharing and you want to encourage me to continue, like and subscribe and share my videos. Thank you so much. God bless you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.